Hello, everyone. Welcome to Ignited Minds Hub. What is this Ignited Minds Hub? What is this community all about? And what are the reasons for which I decided to start this Ignited Minds community is what I'm going to talk right now. I'm Yashaswini, a BA MBA graduate working in the corporate since 8 plus years. Have seen a lot of struggles in the career transformation, and I'm here starting this Ignited Minds community in order to show the way for the individuals who have been suffering like me and try to show them the guidance how to move about in their career very smoothly and with grace. So let me talk about my motivation in order to start this, or rather, my motivation at the times when I was in real struggle. Now, coming to this struggle phase, why I'm saying this is struggle is because at that time when I knew what was the action steps I need to take, I knew what was the problem I was going through. There were so many things which I had to encounter and face at a single phase of time. And even after knowing everything, somewhere I happened to take a lot of time getting stuck in that phase and try to figure out how to move about this. So this is the story about me who have 8 plus years of experience in the corporate sector and have worked 6 plus years in a single firm or a company which is world recognized. I don't want to name the company, but it is a big four investment bank in the world. So my journey in the investment bank was a wonderful journey. To be honest, it was my dream company when I got placed in that particular organization. I was in the core operations and everything looked fantastic until some drastic timings came into my life. So, if I happen to talk about the journey, so initially it was all that I am today, all the learnings in my work environment I have got is from that particular organization, which I'm very thankful for. But honestly, at a time, I did struggle. So, when I say struggle, I was completely frozen. I didn't know how to go about or how to rise or what next kind of situation. And all of this happened not because of the company's value, but because of the individuals around me. I never realized how I got trapped into something which did not look as a trap at all at the initial phases. Why I am calling it as a trap? So, friends, many of you might also be working in the corporate for many years now. And you all know it will be like very smooth until your growth comes in. So, when we are supposed to grow, we will really start seeing the challenges. After a point of time working in the organization, everybody has to grow financially and also with the reputation, with the promotions, and other aspects in their work. Even though sometimes we try hard in order to grow ourselves in all aspects relating to the skill set, management skills, etc. However, we are always denied of the opportunity with silly reasons. So it becomes a point that these are not the reasons for which, because of which we are not growing. Because I somewhere feel these are the reasons created in order to convince us during the year-end appraisal that we are not worthy of it, because they already have some prospects in their mind who could just do some favors to them, or who could do some kind of favors or some kind of work ethics which is relevant to the senior individuals out there in the organization. So we often get to hear that a good leader is the one who would be encouraging their team to grow. But unfortunately, I did not have this in the organization where I worked. So I happened to realize it very, very late. But I'm starting this community so that people don't go prey into such kind of environment and waste their precious times or precious skills in trying to do something which is not going to give them that growth or give them that peace or give them that kind of life which they have always been desiring for. So if you are somebody like me who have been giving your full or your complete self to the work which you do, but you're not getting recognized, or rather you're somebody like me who has worked for years in an organization, but you are stuck up with your kind of pay, and you believe that you deserve more than what you're doing, or you deserve a promotion which is held up because of the silly reasons, or you're just been not allowed to grow, or you're just not allowed to take that leap which is required for you to progress in your career, then I believe this Ignited Minds Hub is the right place for you. At the point when I got stuck up in my career, I happened to see that for the kind of job for which I had given my complete self, I started getting some kind of reviews or feedbacks which was very partial, which was relevant to the management or the individuals in the management who did not like me. But it was not at all relevant to me. Why I'm saying this? I have been struggling hard to create so much, and some senior person will come and take away my credit. And I happened to say nothing because I was okay with it. Even then, that person was not satisfied. The senior individual just saw me as one of the competitor, even though I was working under these people. So, what happens is over the period of time, they always try to get you down because they feel that we are not the individuals staying, keeping us in the organization. They might feel that we are blockers for them to grow. So, in this competitive environment, this is very common, especially in the mid level profession. Not only this, organizations always try to save money. The managers who are more aligned to the cost cutting are getting more prominence, and also the teams which get the results or the benefits with very low cost, low code kind of platform is always recognized. And always, it is not the human potential which is recognized, it is not the integrity or the principles which is recognized, but it is just the work which is getting done is actually the matter of time. If there is a situation wherein you are just drowning, I believe, or I completely can tell you with 100% assurity that nobody is coming to save you. You need to save yourselves. So, if when you try to get stagnated or you're just frustrated with whatever you are in, it is your duty and your responsibility to upskill yourself, to find out the opportunities outside from your own efforts, make the efforts in order to get through it, and also crack it in such a way that you have done it with ease. And the place where you migrate as well should be the place of harmony. Otherwise you will also be stuck up in the same way like what you were stuck before. So when such situation happened with me, what I happened to do, I started identifying the prospects which has actually got me into this kind of situation. So identifying the root cause of the problem is very important. The problem might be with the career, the problem might be with your health or wealth or anything it is. The root cause will actually help you to identify where is that issue which where you need to focus and work upon. Once your issue is recognized, then you need to identify what are the prospects through which you can solve this problem and move ahead. I'm pretty sure it is not easy. It has never been easy for many of us, not me, not you, not anyone else. The people who have grown to the greatest heights are not like grown with miracles or with some magic. They would have done their efforts. I agree somewhere some people turned out to be more luckier than the other ones, but even for that luck, they would have struggled at some point in their lifetime or in their previous birth. I'm pretty not sure about it, but it is all the cycle. So now coming to the point as to, okay, how did I go next? So when I realized that I don't have the potential to grow in the organization, I did try to, focus on my growth within the organization or try to focus and do all that I can do. When some of my managers felt I am a threat because I was performing better or I did not align by a few of the aspects, like I could not manage to work for 3 days in the office only for the mere reason that I had to travel 5 hours from my home to the office, having small kids and other personal responsibilities. I was not able to meet that. However, working from home, I was able to meet all the expectations, and I used to exceed better than what they had expected. Even after all this was given, even with the genuine reasons which I had in hand, Some of the managers felt I am a threat because I used to complete a lot of things which they could not complete on time. Or rather, they did try to prioritize some of the individuals who were actually jealous about me within the team. So, off and on, all this politics did revolve around. The things started getting little personal. When things get personal, you happen to start losing in some or the other way. The profession should always be separate than the personal life. This is my strategy or my own kind of work ethics which I follow. But if there is an environment which is getting your personal life combined with the professional life, and they are just trying to get you down, keeping your personal aspects in hand, which is a very wrong thing, or the environment is definitely not the right environment for you. I happened to go through it. I still remember the days when I stood helpless in the office environment or in the environment without, without understanding what next. I was in a place where I could not work. I was not in a situation just drop the paper because I didn't have any offer in hand. You know how difficult it is after working for 6 plus years in a particular process or particular operations. How do you go about changing the role? Because every organization is different, the requirements are different, and the tools are different. So it becomes so difficult in order to map and understand without any background or without any mind preparation in order to take that leap and move forward. So when I realized this is the root issue as to what I'm facing, I started finding out the opportunities as to what kind of opportunities I can get in the market and who are the leaders or who are the organizations who are providing this kind of opportunities, and how is that I can try to like upskill myself. Are there any skill sets required for that kind of role which I'm looking for? And for that particular skill set, is there any certification which I need to do? So these were the kind of questions which started wandering inside my mind. It is then I did get some kind of good mentors. Like one of my mentor is Mr. Rizwan. I got good guidance through him on some aspect as to how to move forward in the role which I was aspiring for. So, with the right mentor, I did try to take a chance. I started looking at everything from the scratch, like I don't know anything, but I'm trying to just focus on it and start, my journey towards it. So it was somewhere in December, it was somewhere in November. I started doing some kind of courses. I started focusing on some kind of certification, all of it along with the job. So because I had a very, like difficult job where I have to work from 9 to 6 without any kind of focus outside. I started using 1 or 2 hours of the time during the night time when I have some free time, or during my weekends when I have some time, or if I'm traveling. I used to listen to the lectures over the car, putting up an earplug. Or I just used to sit with my children, give them some sketch pens, and ask them to do some painting. And meanwhile, I used to listen to some recordings or make some notes. So it did continue until January. When the January came, we did have the year-end appraisal. And on the day of year-end appraisal, I was not expecting, like a great thing to happen. I did know that there are so many things which happened during the previous year. But however, whatever I was supposed to give as my commitment to the work was intact to 100%. I did not miss out on any of the deadlines. I did not miss out on incorporating any of the principles. I did try to train the fresh individuals who had entered the team. I did all that is possible from my end. Even then, I was given a feedback that there could be some HR issue on you because you could not meet up the expectation of traveling 3 days a week to the office. So even though I had given my reasons and I have submitted the medical records for which I was not able to travel for so long, traveling for 5 hours after two C-sections was actually a difficult task for me. However, I did travel all the days whenever possible. Even though I could not make it up to 3 days a week, I could always try to make up 1 or 2 days a week. And all this was informed to the manager. And it is not like I did run away from the work. I had taken the full ownership and accountability for the works. Even though working from home, I had did more than what I could do as going to the job in office. So even after all this, when I heard that, it was unacceptable. It was not something which I did against the management. It was not something which I did not happen to hear, because this is the setup which I have been doing from many years since the time COVID started. Because both my children were small and I had medical issues, the management was always okay with the right documents submitted on time. And I have always kept my managers informed. But this time it was something different. They didn't give me any sort of hike. They just used this mere reason, saying that, this is a lame reason for which there could be some HR issue. And I felt like I have given my years of efforts to this organization and for this team to stabilize. I was the like key individual who bought in the process. It was never there in this organization in Bangalore. I got it, like migrated from countries like Singapore. I have got the processes got migrated from Glasgow. I got the processes migrated from the EMEA region, from Mumbai, from so many places. And the difficulties I've gone through, I still remember working till 12 o'clock in the night, and just coming home so late, and just somebody just comes and throws off some lame reason and just put some kind of words which is not acceptable. So I made up my mind. Okay, that was the point. I took up a decision. I just said, okay. I didn't speak anything to the management. And that day, I had a conversation with my manager in the evening. I had my year-end review at around 12:30 in the noon. Until 4 o'clock, I happened to complete all my works assigned to me for that particular day. And I did tell my manager that I want to have a small catch up at 4 p.m. in the evening. I call up my manager and I told her, I just happened to call you to say that I have some health issues, which was real, but not to the extent that I would be just taking a break or something. And I did tell her that, I didn't even go ahead and tell the proper reason that, because the feedback was bad or what I'm going through. Nothing, because my manager was the key reason for which all of this happened. I just told her that I feel that I need a break from whatever I'm doing right now. So I've decided to resign from the job. So kindly, I'll send out an email. Kindly consider this as my official email and process my resignation letter and let me know what I'm supposed to do next. And I'm so surprised. She was the most happiest person on this earth listening to my resignation. Instead of being scared because a key individual is leaving the team, she was very happy because she somewhere felt having me in the team, her job is at stake. Because I always felt that she had only half the knowledge, or maybe she was not that capable of, leading a team as a true leader could do, whatever the reason could be. Then they said that okay, they will continue to process my resignation further. So once I did put up this resignation, I didn't have a job in hand. I didn't know what to do. I had not even started giving my interviews anywhere. So, what happened at this point? I became more accountable. I knew that I have only 60 days in my bucket. And within the 60 days, I need to take up some decisions and I need to take this life forward. I didn't have any savings as such in my bank account other than the provident fund, which was provided by the organization. At that point of time, I could have had around like 4.44 lakhs or something. And I started thinking if I can start some own entrepreneurship business through this. And again, I don't have any kind of knowledge in that. However, I have been trying and looking for the side hustles because of all this I've gone through. And I'm very thankful for my experiences because I am expanding in all the horizons in my life. So I started seeking for the interviews. I started applying in the Naukri, LinkedIn. I started reaching out to the individuals. I started looking into the jobs for which I was taking the coaching or doing the certification. All that was new for me. And I started preparing for the interviews. And more than anything, I decided for myself, along with the skill set, I will align my mindset. If I can't recognize my own efforts, if I can't, applaud for the kind of efforts which I am putting, nobody else will help me. No one else will understand me. It is very easy to make some conclusions or decisions about the individuals, seeing their situation. But the person who is going through it alone knows how difficult it is in order to move forward, or how difficult it is to take decisions and work towards those decisions. So I decided no matter what, I'm going to stand accountable for my own self. I decided I will take up a job within next 60 days, and I'll prove to the management who just betrayed me that they have lost a diamond. So when I started giving the interviews, I did face some rejections for sure. I still happen to remember one of the organization. I'm not sure if I can take the name of the organization, but it is one of the reputed IT company, which I was aspiring for very much because the company was very near to my home. The package was good, the job was good, everything was good. But the kind of questions which came to me, I don't know, maybe I had prepared for the interview, but I could not answer half of the questions. And that person took the interview for more than 1.5 hours. And he did say that I'm surprised you're not able to answer these questions, and how is that you came for an interview? And it actually, like, felt like a slap. And at that point of time, I felt like, okay, there is something which is missing. I did ask him, like, I didn't stand quiet at that moment. I did tell him that, please provide some feedback when you're giving such reviews as to how is that you have come for the interview. Is it only because I could not answer half of the questions? Because every time during the interviews, it is not like you might be knowing the concepts and you are aware of so many things, but the questions would be not as straightforward from every individual as you expect it to be. So you might get questions in such a way that you really don't get connected or understand what that question actually is. Like, it might be some twisted, intertwined, related to the process, or related to some kind of test scenarios, or related to some kind of real world examples. So somewhere at that point of time, you might get stuck because you might not have relevance in the direct context when you're attending the interviews. So he happened to tell me that, see, your basics should be strong. If your basics are strong, then you can just focus on anything, even though whatever work you would have done, it would have been built on the basics. So, are you sure that your basics are strong? So this is what I heard from him, and I re-introspected on myself with the questions, or with the kind of experiences, with the kind of scenarios. I did realize that my basics is actually completely strong. It is just that when he asked, I realized that during the interview, I had a pre-notion about that individual. Because of this pre-notion which I had expected the interview to go in a certain way, but it did take a turn because my expectations didn't come true. Or rather, my pre-notion, which I had already decided, made my mind frame align to such a line that it was not getting in line with the interviewer. Suppose if I am supposed to reach from destination A to B, and I am deciding that the destination from A to B should be a straight line. And if at all, if I happen to hire a cab, and if I happen to hire somebody who is driving for me, and he is trying to take a crossroad, thinking that, in order to avoid a traffic, or in order to avoid the kind of complexities to the straight road, then somewhere the alignment between my pre-notion and the driver will go false. So there might be some kind of clash at that point of time, or I might be suspicious throughout my journey that, where I'm being taken, because my journey was from A to B in a straight line and I'm just going in a curved line. So this kind of pre-notions, or the kind of initial steps, what we do during the small mistakes during the interviews, cause a lot of worst possible outcomes, is what I realized. So this was my third or fourth interview. I had already cleared the first three, and I had cleared the second rounds of the first three. So I was quite okay because I felt that maybe this is still fine because I already have some kind of hopes in the first three interviews. Then I happened to realize that all the four didn't come true. The worst thing was the first three interviews for which I had given the second round, nobody did happen to come back and give some sort of reply at all. Even after then, I decided I'll reach out to the interviewers and go back and ask. So that is when I realized that, I started getting one more round of interview where some questions were asked about my family life, and they started questioning, would you be able to travel long distances, or would you be able to go on site and stay for months in order to complete the projects? And all these kind of questions started coming up. Maybe I was not yet prepared for that as well. However, and the irony comes here. I did stay that, I did stay confident. I had hopes. I was doing all possible things from my end, manifesting, or the kind of mindset shift which I had to take up, staying positive, taking everything easily, and started hoping for the things, started praying about the progress with the God, or talking self talks in a very positive way. I did incorporate a lot of good things during this time. During this journey was the difficult one. However, I still remember it is a good one because it transformed my life. And later, at some point, I got a call from the HR, and the HR said that last time when you happened to attend an interview, you got rejected by the interviewer. And that interviewer has rejected 50 plus applicants up till now. So I somewhere believe that you were a capable candidate, but the interviewer was very strict and he could not recognize your talent. So that is the reason she asked me, would you like to give one more interview into a different panel for which we have the openings? And this was somewhere out of India, and the panel was not an Indian. It was from some different country. I did agree because I needed opportunities and I was okay with anything. My mind did not tell that, okay, they have rejected, so should not be going. I was open to everything. I decided, okay, if not that, maybe this. Maybe, like I was destined to give the interview over here. I did appreciate her efforts to reaching out to me, recognizing my caliber and giving me a second chance. She did straight away put to the second round instead of the first round because it was already like a second time applying for the same organization. And that interview was somewhat miraculous. Why I will call it a miracle? Because the interviewer and myself, we were like very much aligned, and every question she asked, I did understand the context in which she is asking. And I was able to answer everything with the kind of background with which I had worked. Everything was sinking very well. I felt she was very friendly. I felt like I knew her from years. And she was so polite. I don't know if it is if it's the culture of their country, but I'm so honored and I'm so happy that I happened to get the job. And once the interview was over, she said she'll reply back in 2 or 3 days. And I still remember on the day of Shivratri, I was in temple and I got a call from the HR saying that you are selected. And the joining date is very near because they have an immediate requirement. And for my surprise, my last working day at the organization in my earlier firm was March 7th, and they gave me a joining on March 10th. So it was like an immediate shift. I relieved on Friday from the previous organization, and I happened to start my new job on Monday. And I didn't know how to say thanks to God, and that's a whole different story. And I was so happy. And when I joined the job, I happened to put the status, and I had got a role which is higher than what I was in the previous organization. And the hike which I got because I'm working for a different country in their aspect right now, I got around 120% of hike, which is like a dream come true for many of them. And also, it's very, very flexible job. I can do the job from anywhere I want. And even though there is a work from office policy, like, it is still adjustable. Like, I can choose any day I want. So it is something which I had always been aspiring for. But the kind of alignment which was required on the skill set, mindset, and the thoughts level was not actually in place. Now, all these things, when it came in line, I realized this human potential is beyond the imagination. And all of us have this potential. All of us know the path. just that kind of spark, or that kind of guidance, or that kind of path which we need to walk into, or that kind of coach or the trainer might be missing for many of us during our journey. So this Ignited Minds Hub community is more about how do you take your path forward in the right way. So I'm so happy that I'm starting this so that we all can grow together, and we all can learn together, and we can share our ideas. And the journey which I went through, I know many of you might be going through, and I'm very happy that I can guide you all in the right direction so that all of you seek that internal peace and happiness along with the external achievements which you go through in the life. Thank you for watching my video.